This is the book of 2 Corinthians chapter 4, verse 17. For our momentary light suffering is producing us an internal weight of glory farther beyond our comprehension. I like to give all praises and glory to Almighty Yahweh Yahushai. I like to give all glory and honor and praises to Almighty Yahweh Yahushai. Double honors from the men of GMS who rule well. Peace and salutation to the hopeful elect. This is Brother Boaz on the set once again. You have to suffer, okay? That's what this doctrine is all about. You have to go through your tribulations, and you have to drink the cup of Yahweh Shai, okay? And I know it seems grievous, but you must suffer. Let's go into it today. The book of Acts, chapter 14, verse 22. They strengthened the souls of the disciples and encouraged them to continue in the faith, saying, we must enter the kingdom of power through many persecutions. Okay, so you have to get persecuted in this thing. Okay, that's what this is all about. You have to go through your suffering, and you have to go through your tribulations. Okay, the scripture says, count it as all joy. Count it as all joy that you're going through tribulations of every kind. Let's get the book of Romans, chapter 18, chapter 8, verse 18. The book of Romans, chapter 8, verse 18. For I consider that our present sufferings cannot even be contemplated to the coming glory that will be revealed to us. So that's what this thing is all about, okay? Our momentary sufferings, okay, what's coming to us outweighs all the negatives, so if you will, okay? So you have to serve Yahweh Yahushai and keep going through your suffering. Let's get it. The book of James, chapter 4, chapter 1, Salakia, verse 2. My brothers and sisters, consider it nothing but joy when you fall into all type of trials, because you know that the testing of our faith produces endurance, and the endurance have its perfect effect, so that you will be perfect and complete and not deficient in anything. Okay, so that's what this thing is about. You got to seek Yahweh Yahushai. You have to call upon his name, okay, and continue to suffer, okay? That's what this thing's all about. The book of Let's go to the book of First Peter. The book of First Peter, chapter 2, verse 19. For this finds power's favor is because of conscience towards power. Someone endures hardship and suffering unjustly. For what credit is it when you sin and you are treated with treated and endure it? But if you do good and suffer and so endure it, this finds favor with power. For to this you were called, since Mashiach also suffered for you, leaving you as an example for you to follow in his steps. The book of First Peter chapter 3, verse 20. After they were disobedient long ago, power waited patiently for in the days of Noah as the ark was being constructed, and the ark, as few as that was 8 souls, were delivered through water. Okay, so that's what this is all about. Okay, that's what this is all about. The book of the book of First Peter chapter 4, verse 1. For since Mashiach suffered in the flesh, you arm yourselves with the same attitude, because the one who has suffered in the flesh has finished off with sin. The book of First Peter chapter 4, verse 12. Dear friends, do not be astonished by that a trial by fire is occurring around you, as something strange were happening to you, but rejoice in the degree that you have shared in the sufferings of Mashiach, so that when his glory is revealed, you may also rejoice and be glad. If you are insulted for the name of power, you are blessed, because the spirit of power, of glory, who is the spirit of power, rests on you. But let none of you suffer as a murderer or a thief or a troublemaker. But if you suffer as a Christian, do not be ashamed, but glorify power who bears such a name. For it is time for judgment to begin, starting with the house of power. And if it starts with us, what shall be the fate of those who are disobedient to the gospel of power? And if the righteous are barely saved, what will become of the ungodly and the sinner? So, what's going to happen to the ungodly and the sinner? If the righteous are barely saved, if we're barely being saved by the skin of our teeth, what's going to happen to them? Let's get it. The book of Second Ezra, chapter 15, verse 1. Behold, speak in the ears of my people the words of prophecy, whom I will put in thou mouth, says Yahweh, and cause them to be written in paper, for they are faithful and true. Fear not the imagination against thee, nor the incredulity of them that trouble thee, that speak against thee. For all the unfaithful shall die in their unfaithfulness. Okay, they're going to get put to death when this thing goes down. They're going to get put straight to death when this thing goes down. The book of Isaiah chapter 2 verse 28. All the rebellious sinners will be shattered. Those who abandon Yahweh will perish. Okay, so those who abandon Yahweh, Yahweh will perish when this thing goes down. The book of First Thessalonians chapter 3 verse 3. So that no one will be shaken by these afflictions, for you yourself know that we were destined for this. For in fact, we were telling you in advance that we should suffer afflictions, and that it so happened as you already know. Okay, so you're going to catch your afflictions and trials and tribulations. Okay, it's only fair that Yahweh Shai went through it for us. We have to go through it for Yahweh Shai. Okay, it's only fair. Okay, it's the only right thing. That's the only right transaction. He suffered it, so we have to suffer too. The book of Hebrews, chapter 10, verse 25. Not abandon our own meetings as some are in the habit of doing, but encourage each other, and even more because you see the day draw is near. For if we deliberately keep on sinning after receiving the knowledge of the truth, no further sacrifice of sin is left, but only a certain fear of expectation of judgment and a future fires that will consume power's enemies. So someone is rejected. The law of Moses was put to death without mercy on the testimony of two or three witnesses. Verse 30. For we know that the one who says, vengeance is mine, I will repay, Yahweh will judge his people. It is a terrifying thing into the hands of the living God. But formerly, but remember formerly when you endure harsh conflict and suffering, you was enlightened at the time when you was publicly exposed to abuse and affliction, when you offered was canned and shared in this and with others were treated in that same way. Let's read it from the top. But remember the former days when you endure harsh conflict of suffering. After that, you was enlightened. At times, you were publicly exposed to abuse and afflictions, and other times you came to share with others who were treating you that way. For in fact, you were shared the suffering of those in prison, and you accept the confiscation of your belongings with joy because you knew that you certainly had a benefit and lasting possession. So do not throw away your confidence because it has great reward. For you need to endure in order to do powers will and to receive what is promised for just a little longer, and be who is coming would not arrive delay, but if it, but my righteous one will live by faith. And if he shrinks back, I take no pleasure in him. But we are not among those who shrink back and thus perish, but are among those who have faith and preserve their soul. So that's what this is all about. Okay, we have to go through the suffering. And I'll leave you with this. Second, the book of Hebrews, chapter 12, verse 2. Keeping our eyes fixed on Yahweh Shai, the pioneer and perfecter of our faith, for the joy set out for him, he endured the cross, disregarding its shame, and has taken his seat at the right hand of the throne of power. I like to give all praises and glory to Almighty Yahweh Yahushai. I like to give all praises and honor and glory to Almighty Yahweh Yahushai. Shalom.